Howdy, 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 everybody, and welcome to a race series that actually starts on time. This is the iRacing Formula 3.5 Championship here on Apex Racing TV. I'm Austin Knight. I'm joined by Alessandro D'Adate with Marco Barbonera in the production booth, and we're here live from Silverstone, all the way across the world from that other track that everyone seems to be going for right now. But we got a good race for y'all today here at probably one of the granddaddies of all Grand Prix racing. Alessandro, how are you feeling about today?
Hi Austin, really looking forward for this track. It's well known for the Formula Series, so definitely we are ahead of a great race. Plenty of passing spots in this track. The RS zones are gonna be definitely the main point for these guys, and we have some classic names coming back today too, so definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, any long-lasting watcher of the Formula 3.5 series here on Apex Racing TV, gonna look at a few of these names and be like, hey, that guy sounds familiar. And I'm gonna be honest, it is a big, it's very big to see some of these drivers come back here and rejoin us here on Apex Racing TV. Ollie Kwaka, this guy, classic. I think the last time we've had him in Formula 3.5 was about last year, I believe.
Yeah, I quite new, so I don't really recall commentating on this guy, but I trust Austin, and I know he's gonna be definitely quick. Nice to see also James Pinsker back.
Yeah, James is back after that weird escapade in Long Beach. Going to see if he can retake his top spot. Ollie Kwaka also looking good here at Silverstone. Another driver he won last time by a mile at Long Beach said he's now going to be taking Formula 3.5 to his best, and that will be Ben Fuller in the number 5 car. Also, Daniel Campos is here right now as he's coming through the final corner, and James R. Byrne as well.
Yeah, it looks like most of the guys are all here set for another great race. Not many drivers missing for commitment for Daytona 24. As many people probably just already left the race because of some issues or crashes, like our team, for example. But you know, I think we got the proof that whenever me and Marco are racing together in an endurance race, we need to get rid of Austin. That's why we will have a nice sticker in the back of the car next time by.
Hey, out of the 2 races you've had me in the team, it just happens that we've only lasted 15 minutes.
No Austin's allowed for the next endurance event on the Apex Racing TV car.
Fine, I'll legally change my name to Ashlyn and you'll be fine. There's your loophole.
Oh yeah, you always have to find loopholes.
That's what I do, man.
I
almost crashed all the iRacing this morning by signing up for 2 straight teams.
There is your great cheater of the day, causing all mayhem and giving us the $5 iRacing dollars to all. So thank you.
Hey, it was 10 for me. It's not my fault, okay? I just wanted to make sure I will finish the race.
With this beautiful Jordan livery, looking to start the race on pole position, given the fact he's number 1. Above 7,000 rating for the championship. Tough exit on the last corner.
Ben Fuller. Well, he said he was going to take this more seriously, as this is probably the best SOF that he can go for. The RO1 wasn't providing the field that he wanted to race in. The World Championships is just not that challenging, so he wanted a new challenge. He came over to the Formula 3.5 series, the highest SOF in all of iRacing, as he goes for his chase for a pro driver license. Ben Fuller currently sits at provisional pole by 0.02 of a second. And here's Robert Talton making his return back to the Formula 3.5. The American was incredibly quick around here, and he's definitely early on in the season looking like a favorite for the championship. Can he get on top of the front row? Dalton comes across the line. Goes 7th.
Jason Enrique, Oli Kuoka, and Masafumi Burame all trying to get their laps in. I think Burame already did his 2 laps.
Yes, he did. He's currently just putting in some more practice. Ollie Kwaka is nearing the end of his 2nd lap. Right on board as he heads into the Royal Chicane right now. And these curbs right here are extremely dangerous, especially in these cars, and you don't want to hit them. It gets very light on the car right here. Comes across the line. Ollie Kwaka goes 11th.
Only Paul Brink missing to close qualifying. He's the last car that has to complete the 2 laps. But looks like his time is very, very high, already above 2 minutes. So I think he had a slow sector.
Yeah, he's just completely backed off. Maybe had an off in one part of the track, but definitely not looking like Paul Ilbrink's best race. And it's going to be another not so good qualifying for Paul, which, to be fair, he has admitted plenty of times that he's never had good qualifying pace.
And there we are. Qualifying is over, and just a few seconds before we get the new qualifying results and the grid for today's race, as we are pleased with this beautiful camera.
Yep, Ben Fuller starts up on pole, followed by James Pinks here. Those are your front row, followed by Jose Longa making his return to the series with Greg Olson right beside Daniel Campos and Edward Samborski. Fill out the 3rd row, followed by Robert Tarleton, Jorge Lopez, Exposito in 3rd, in the 4th row, followed by Jason Enrique, Andreas Ferrazlite, Ali Kwaka, and Pratik Letavet making his return in 12th place. Behind them is Paul Ilberg, Jamie Byrne, James Byrne, Mark J. Ponick, and Masafume Abarume at the end of this 17-car grid.
Not a lot of cars hosting tonight in this small split, but definitely very high quality drivers.
Yeah, very high quality drivers. Not a lot of cars on the grid, as most of them are probably dealing with stuff over at the Daytona 24-hour or saw what happened and just assumed iRacing was not going to be working today, so they just took this as a drop week. And I totally understand both those ideas because, yeah, this morning was not fun. But yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun this afternoon here on Apex Racing TV for the Formula 3.5 Championship. So we got
only the car still missing from the grid.
Yeah, I think Paul's just getting something ready. There he comes. And let's get ready to rumble as the 5 red lights are coming on. It's time to get some action here at Silverstone at the Formula 3.5 Championship is underway. It's a great start by Ben Fuller. James Peter immediately defending from Jose Longa in 3rd place. As the front drivers go 1st and 2nd, and Robert Tarleton making a great start. He's already up there. Look at him around the outside of Daniel Campos. And Tarleton, oh, too heavy in there. Tarleton's around.
Yeah, Tarleton spun, but Samborski, I think, maybe went around. We will have to check the replay. This definitely gave Paul Ebring plenty of free positions. P7 for Paul Ebring after a very bad qualifying. But here up front, Ben Fuller seems to have the upper end.
Oh, no!
Their athlete goes for a trip on the grass and unfortunately meets the barriers.
That start was absolutely crazy and carnage-filled. Starting off with Robert Tarleton making a very aggressive start, round the outside of a few drivers. Then as they head into the arena section, that's a slowdown for Jose Longa right there. That was way off the track as they head in through Maggots, Beckett's, and Chapel. But that start was just so carnage-filled. We're going to have to get a good replay after that. As we look at James Byrne, his wing is just absolutely torn up right there.
That's it. Samborski, I think too much master, then Byrne just...
It started with Charlton getting up too much master. Look at...
Oh, yes.
Now, this is Ollie Kwaka. He was stuck in the middle of it, and then Robert Charlton spins right there, and it's just in the middle of the track. Gets a little bit of a nudge right there. Samborski got a little bit airborne after receiving a hit from James Byrne.
Yeah, I think Samborski tried to slow down, and in the end found himself stopping in the middle of the track, losing traction, and then obviously James Byrne had nowhere to go. Enrique Tarton all on pit road right now to get some repairs. This definitely helps the guys starting at the tail end of the field, making plenty of free spots, and obviously Paul Ibring already in 7th.
Yeah, looks like the start of my Daytona 24 hours. Not the cleanest of starts, I must say. A lot of cars died. But currently up front, Fuller, Pacer, Longa, your top 3. And Ben making good on his promise. Wanted to give this field a run for its money right now. Well, he's trying to pull away from James Painter, the number 1 in the field. And he's followed by Jose Longa, who's got a nice Fernando Alonso liveried helmet.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm surprised to see still Anders Verheyen on the track and not going for repairs, because the hit that he had on the barriers was pretty harsh. So
yeah, this is that hit we're talking about. There's a bang into the wall, but the Formula 3.5 car is a little bit robust, and all the result of another incident as well.
Yeah, there was someone in front spinning.
There's a send up the inside, and is there a touch with him? I don't think they touched, but
I think it might have been Campos.
Yeah, that was Daniel Campos, and oh my goodness! Ooh, Campos went for a ride.
Back lap.
Yeah, back lap. Fuller, Pacer put it in the fastest lap. Actually, yeah. It says Ben Fuller has the fast lap, but it's actually James Dave Pacer who has the fastest lap by just 1/1000th of a second. So, nearly identical lap times. Though, James did go off track. So, it's officially going to Ben Fuller, but James went a little bit faster. He cheated, but he's a bit faster.
Oh yeah, it's important he doesn't really cheat too much, because in the end he might have to go through the fairly short pit road if he reaches 17 incident points, but seems to be pretty difficult. Need to be careful though, because in these corners, for example...
Oh yeah, it's so easy to go wide right there.
Very wide.
As both James and Ben did.
If you go too wide there, you might even get a slowdown. Or even here in these corners, if you cut too much the curve, you might have a slowdown, which is very, very harsh, to be fair. One of the worst slowdown you could get on iRacing, to be fair. Doesn't really want to go down if you don't slow down immediately.
As Fuller leads out Pinkster, but Pinkster closing in on the American. And Ben put it on a great show here. 7/10 separate them. New faster lap for James J. Pinkster. New fastest legal lap for James, I must say that.
Yeah, Langa is holding really well to James and Fuller. Greg Olson instead is struggling a little bit with pace. He doesn't really have the speed to keep up with his teammate in front, but nevertheless he's not too far off. If anything happens up front or they start fighting, he is really well positioned. Jorge Lopez and Ollie Cuoca 5th and 6th instead are fighting for the last spot in the top 5. Nice to see Jorge Lopez and Oli Walker fight. Two names we haven't really seen so far this season.
Yeah, Lopez back in his Karuma car. New color scheme on that 3.5 machine. I gotta say, I love this color he's got going on. That white, red, blue, black. Oh, something about it just screams fast. And it's nice to look at.
Samborski is back out on track, getting a few positions after the crash in the first lap. And you never know, maybe someone else is gonna have some issues along the way, so it's always better to keep on going, especially if you have some incidents early on. Robert Harton is still in the pits, so I think for him it's gonna be pretty much day over. Ben Fuller is about to start lap 5. And James Delphine sets the new fastest lap of the race with a 1:46.52. 5:15 actually.
Yeah, it's getting very, very close between them, and James is on this gearbox, and this is going to get absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I'm really happy James is back with us after Long Beach. He told us he wasn't really keen on racing that track, but today Silverstone Classic F1 or at least European Formula cars used to race here for a long time, so a classic event for any Formula calendar, especially also that now we have this newly refurbished track, at least on iRacing, even though the old one in my opinion was much better. Let's see if Pinsker will get to attack Ben Fuller, as we are now looking at the battle for the 9th place between Jamie Byrne and Mark J. Pony.
Yeah, Mark just looking for that 9th place on Jamie Byrne. And you gotta watch out for that dirty air here and how much DRS that you can use. You only have 8 uses of DRS, but these straights can gain so much time on them, and you can also lose so much time if you're just caught with your pants down and unable to get back with any uses of DRS back, because this track is very high in draft. And that's how James Pinsker and Ben Fuller are kind of sticking with each other and staying very close to getting a very bad wake to Jose Longa, who's just unable to stay with them.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how they will manage the DRS situation. Remember, we have only 7 for the whole race. With this draft, I don't think Pinsker will really need the DRS to attack on the straight. Always in that corner, trying to put some pressure on Fuller.
Well, the pressure is there, and he's feeling it. James J. Pinsker, oh, he's starting to show the nose and get a little bit antsy here. And it's a American leading this race, but I can tell you the Englishman wants to represent in his home country.
Samborski back on pit road. He got the few positions he wanted, and I think he called the day off. As Pinsker is now going through the famous S's and really have the speed to.
He's got the speed. He's closing in. He's looking. He's selling a dummy. Ben is not buying any of that. He's saying you can take your cookies somewhere else. I ain't buying that one. And it's Ben and Ben and James. Still 1-2 here. As Longa is just staying back there, slowly falling away, I must say.
Yeah, not too much. The pace is very similar to Pinsker, to be fair.
It's actually still within the same time as what Ben just did, as well as James. So he's staying with him. So if there's any mistake, Jose can pick up some of the scraps from here.
Yeah, we've seen plenty of incidents or fights in the last laps ending not so good for drivers in this championship so far. So if you are there in a decent position, you never know what is gonna happen. Hopefully everything will be clean and they give us great respectful battles, which usually we always have. But you know, iRacing sometimes can be difficult, and sometimes
Indeed.
also it's not helping drivers. Obviously, it's difficult to have spatial awareness and know the distances compared to the real world. But these drivers are one of the best in the business. This guy as James Byrne.
Yeah, James going back into the pit lane. Had some damage for the start. I guess he just wasn't happy about the car. James actually backing off right here. James Pincer just staying out of the draft this time. And we saw him do this 2 weeks ago, actually, and while in the battle for the lead. He was staying out of the draft, but staying right on the tail and not wanting to pass the car ahead of him.
Fuller. Another lap in the lead. Same lap time again for these two drivers. A little bit faster Jose Langa. Greg Olson instead losing yet again a little bit of time compared to these three drivers up front. But there's still a 2-second lead on Jorge Lopez, who managed to break the draft on Olli Cuoca.
This fight for the lead is getting absolutely out of hand right now. James is just testing Ben Fuller's patience, and I think trying to make it just a little bit nervous into making a mistake. And James and Ben, both of them, it'll be very interesting to watch on how they fight throughout this race. We got a side-by-side fight between Andreas Ferraz-Lete and Masafumi Albarume for 10th place, and Ferraz-Lete down the inside as they enter Brooklands to take 10th place.
Yeah, somehow pitch perfect PAF Formula 3.5 for Andrea Ferraz-Lete after that contact with the wall. Masafumi Aburame a bit off pace today compared to the drivers up front. I know he's been busy with the 24-hour of Daytona.
Yeah, the paces might not be up to scrub with a few of these guys since, you know, we've been driving GT cars, sports cars all over the place, around a completely different track, maximizing your times. Want to be good for the team, and well, when you hop into the single seater, you kind of just get out of that mindset, and you have to get reused to the single seater here.
Yeah, especially for my 3.5, it's very difficult as Pinsker looks at the inside, but doesn't really have the space to attack Ben Fuller.
It's a very tough place to make a move because they do switchback hairpin style, so you got a tough right-hander move, then you're going to be in the inside for that first corner, and then you're going to be on the outside for the second corner. They can immediately get you back, and it's going to be very hard to actually set up a move for there. So his best move is heading into Brooklands or the final straight, the hanger straight, and just try to send it down the inside before that corner. So we're on the old start-finish line right now. Flat-out right-hander. Using all the runoff as they can without going off the track. And James, 2/10 on the gearbox of Ben Fuller. He's going to be lined up for a heck of a shot this time.
And very close. Let's see how fast
comes James.
Might be the right time.
And here he goes, down the inside. Side by side they go. James J. Pinsker goes for the move, and he's got the move made, but now here comes Ben Fuller on the attack back. James goes across the track to defend for Ben Fuller to get the ultimate line, and he's going to secure that spot. New leader of the race here at Silverstone, the Englishman, James J. Pinsker.
Great pass, absolutely exceptional execution, and now he is the new leader at the start of lap 10.
But now, we look at Ben Fuller. Is he going to start going on an attack?
Yeah, he has to be also quick because you never know. Jose Langa behind is not really far off, and with a bit of draft and a bit of battle in front, he could join the party very soon.
Yeah, if these two continue to fight as Ben actually lifts off and lets James keep that spot, it's going to be James J. Pincer and Ben Fuller, Jose Longa, our top three, as we now have a three-way fight for the lead.
Great shot from Jose Langa on board. Going through this super fast section. Dobbs and Magnus and Beckett coming out. Let's see how barely lifts through this right-hander and then shifts down, I think, to fourth gear.
Fourth, maybe it's a third in some places. It's on the edge right there, but he just kept it in fourth and staying in the draft as Jose Long has got a good feel of this fight up ahead as they get back onto the straight. It's still Pincer, Fuller, Longa, our top three, and oh boy, I am going to be excited for this one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry that for our viewers that unfortunately due to these bad circumstances you won't get your weekly Samborski onboard camera.
Well, we could go to a replay for him, but yeah, last he's not going to be happy. He tried to get back on track, but there was just too much damage to that car. And Longa going long and wide. Oh man! Longa.
He tried to make the pass work as immediately, trying to get the position to not lose any time behind Fuller, and he made a very small mistake. He probably tried to close the corner as much as possible to get a good exit. He might have clipped a bit of the grass or easily a bit off.
Watch this move right here. It's just, he is just carrying too much muscle going to that corner, and around he went. But he was very aggressive coming around turn 3 here. Around the outside he went, and instead of going like the regular racing line, he just went straight for the apex, straight down the inside of Ben Fuller and tried to go. Ben Fuller actually got on the radio and was not happy about that move and that original move and said, come on man, there's 11 laps left. You don't need to be doing that right now.
Yeah, absolutely, because now James can easily pull off. You can see the gap above 1 second. Draft is gonna for sure help a little bit Ben, but at the same time Fuller is gonna have a hard time to cross the gap because these two drivers have a very similar pace, and we know James Pinsker how consistent he is in his lap time, so it's gonna require probably the use of 1 or 2 DRSs for Ben to really close down the gap. As
yeah,
here we have
Ben definitely might be using those DRSs on that straight to catch up to James, but we'll hurt him in the long run as we ride on board Greg Olson. Here is Jose Longa. Is he going to try to go that aggressive route once more and get past his teammate to get back into 3rd place?
I think there might be some team order, or at least Greg letting the team invite, as you can see here.
He's going for it. He's looking, he's sending, and Jose Longa back into 3rd place. It's a positive sim racing boys try to catch up to Ben Fuller and James Pincer, as the gap is now 9/10 between them.
We are already past halfway, so let's give a quick shout out to our sponsor Austin, like Virtual Racing School, to improve your on-track performance with 50+ data packs, road and oval racing, setups, track guides, data analysis software, and one-on-one coaching. But mostly it's also integrated with our own Apex Racing Academy with 29 data packs, setups, track guides, video on YouTube from our coaches, weekly group coaching sessions, and also the newly one-on-one sessions that you can request through our website. So if you are interested, please check them out at apexracingac.com, and also our own SDK Gaming to add virtual live add to iRacing, timing tower, enhanced relative boxes, mini-maps, all these beautiful ads Marco is using for this broadcast. Stream to Twitch or your leagues, whatever you want, and adjust your team strategies on the fly with our most accurate live timing on iRacing.
Yeah, it is pretty good. And on Apex Racing Academy, do they have any coaching lessons on how to avoid a massive lap 1 crash?
No, but they have a pretty straightforward answer. Don't have Austin in the team.
I wasn't even in the car, and you're blaming me.
And remember that if you run the Apex Racing Academy logo on your car for more than 10 official races, you will automatically be entered for a giveaway at the end of the season. So make sure to have that big, nice logo on your car wherever you are racing in the racing world.
In the iRacing official car, we need to add, not the Trading Paints. You don't need to make a Trading Paints car because we're not going to be linked there. It's the iRacing official. That's how you have it. You can have that paint on there. You could just have that sponsor on there in your iRacing official car and continue on with your regular Trading Paints car, and it'll just be under there, and you just be entering yourself into the opportunity for over $1,000 in prizes.
If you want to have it also on your Trading Paints, feel free to do it. We are definitely happy.
Yeah, that too. It will show up on the broadcast.
In the meantime, James JPs are opening the gap a little more. 1.3 seconds is now the gap, as we can see here. Our biggest mover of the race, Masafumi Aburame, the Japanese driver, is right now in 10th place, 7 spots up, 6 spots gained also for Paul Ibring from 13 to 7. Pretty much everything happened in the opening lap with all the chaos. And obviously our loser, big loser of today is Daniel Campos, starting all the way. But we have a breaking
news. Tim Delisle is making his return back to the Formula 3.5 series next week at Watkins Glen.
Oh, we are definitely super hyped for that. Really looking forward to seeing him back. It's always nice to have these big guys coming back to Formula 3.5, obviously looking for their big black stripes coming up in the next few seasons with the new Air 01. Although it's a bit difficult to find any official race, to be fair, during the week.
Yes, this is true. And with the new update, I can say I can actually drive the thing, so I feel like it's going to get a little bit more competitive throughout the season, but I really don't want to say it's going to be back to where it should be, but Season 2 might be a little bit more competitive. It's a new car. It takes new cars here on iRacing to be about 1 to 2 seasons more.
I think we might have got it wrong. He was talking about the IR1, where unfortunately he got us there.
Dang you, Timmy!
How dare you? How dare you?
Jeez, Tim. This is the Formula 3.5 broadcast, not the IR01 broadcast.
We were building hype for our
Jeez, man.
Next week.
I was about to get the champagne out and everything and christen this day as Tim Delisle Day, the day he returns, but no, this is the IR01. Get out of here.
In the meantime, Aburame and Ferras Leite swapped position again, and the German driver is now looking to get the top 10 after losing it to the Japanese. A few laps ago, while we were looking at the front of the field, I must say the field is not really spread out as any other races, so this showcases how much competitive all these drivers are.
It's a very not spread out field, but it's also a very kind of separated battles, and it's kind of looking like the how the Formula 1 races here have been for the past few years, with a big spin in front of him. That's a lot of smoke, and that is Jimmy Burns spun around as Masafumi Aburame and Andreas Ferrazete nose to tail with each other.
Yeah, tough day for the Burns today.
And here comes Andreas down the inside. Side by side they go. Coming out of the hangar straight. It's a big send right there for Andreas. It's a little bit wide in the corner. Masafume falls down to 8th as Andreas is up to 9th place now.
Yeah, I think Masafume will not really happy with first date. Was a bit aggressive, but after the freebie, they found themselves in 9th and 10th place. So Aburame, yes, lost a position, but in the end he's still in the top 10, as we are looking now also at the fastest lap of each driver. As you can see, Jose Langa is now almost the fastest lap of the race, 1:43.279 for the Spanish driver.
Yeah, but Jose is, after that spin by Jose, he's just, all he has to go for is that fast lap and just hope something happens up front. But up front, there's no battle happening as Ben Fuller's just caught in that dirty air of James Pace here and is kind of stuck in that area where he can't really get close enough to actually start having a fight with James unless something happens to his car or he has a little bit of mistake, because that gap is increasing and increasing. Even though he's in the draft, that dirty air is affecting the amount of downforce he is getting on that car.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Fuller struggling a little bit to keep up with James. We've seen James driving very much GTE cars in these last few weeks, and his rating definitely showed us. Well above 7K right now, after doing some European series races. Is it called like this now? I still struggle to recall the change. But he definitely didn't lose any speed in the Formula Renault 3.5 at all.
He did not. He picked the car. He was like, I'm gonna see what's out there. I've heard about the series on the forums. I'm gonna try, and well, after a little bit of convincing, I think he's loving this car, and he's now enjoying this fight, because I don't think he was having a lot of competition in his other series, and he was looking for a good SOF to raise his I rating to qualify him for a pro license to get into the Porsche World Cup. That was his main reason. It's just the other races that he was doing was just not getting him the I rating that he needed to get that pro license. And, well, when you race here in the iRacing Formula 3.5 Championship, you get into fields with massive SOFs like we have today, which is 4.6K.
Definitely a very high SOF. I must say one of the highest we had this season, almost for sure.
Indeed. As James J. Pincer is our leader here still, as they come across the line. New fastest lap by James, 1:43.274. It's definitely starting to open up the flaps and use that DRS to pull away from Ben Fuller, and make no mistake about it. Winning by 2 straight seconds. There's Ben sitting in 2nd place, and oh man, he's gonna be itching to have a fight with James next time by. And also, the track has been very understeering, reported by a few of the drivers, so that dirty air hurting you a lot more. As there's Jose Langa sitting in 3rd. Good recovery, coming back into that spot after a massive spin when he was fighting with Ben Fuller.
I feel more than dirty air for Ben Fuller. The problem was actually Jose Langa attacking him very, very early on. And
he got him on that sweet spot.
Making him lose quite a lot of time. Then obviously didn't manage to close the gap to James Pinsker, but I think if he didn't really lose the draft significantly, he might have a stick with James.
Yeah, and if he didn't do that, we might be still having that three-way fight, and this could get absolutely crazy. Looking at the field is Ollie Kwaka in 6th place. He's had a great race, up 5 spots where he started. Paul Ilbring up 6 spots where he started. Patrick Letavette returns to the series, up 4 spots from where he started. And we got Andreas Ferraz-Lite in 9th place, and behind him is Masafumi Abarume, up 7 spots where he started from, and he's currently the biggest mover of this race. And Jose Longa put in a new fastest lap, 1:43.07.
He definitely had plenty of speed. He might have had definitely more chances if he played out his options a bit more, a bit later, let's say, not attacking super aggressively as soon as he got to Ben Fuller, but maybe he was fearing that James J. Pincer, as we are seeing right now in our camera, might have got a little break after passing Ben Fuller the previous lap. It's gonna be interesting to see what's his take on the decision of trying to pass Ben Fuller immediately. With a surprise move, to be fair, because not even Ben Fuller, I think, realized it till right
Ben
there.
Fuller was mad about it. Like, he was not happy that he was trying to send it into him that early on in the race, as he knew if he just stayed going in for that attack, he would fall away from James Pacer, which is what happened. And that's what he was aiming for, because he wanted that fight for the lead instead of now he's just fighting to stay, well, just fighting to stay within sniffing distance of James, who was just putting in lap after lap after lap. Extremely fast, is still pulling away. 2.5 seconds now separates them.
And also, he let James by without really fighting that much. So I think it was part of his strategy to let James lead after having led the first half of the race.
Well, with James following behind him for multiple laps, he knew that James was just as fast as himself, and he couldn't just use James as some free draft. They two work together, they pull away. But as soon as they started fighting just a little bit, Jose just got up in there and gave him a big old fight with each other. And, well, you know, when you come along and come along and everything is just something that just might happen. As we look at our timing screen, and this is interesting, Fuller has dropped 1 whole second in 2 laps, but he's still keeping a consistent gap, it seems, to Jose Longa as they continue on halfway through. 2 laps to go as they head into Maggots, Beckett's, and Chapel.
I think he's just managing,
relaxing and
up. Yeah, I think since we are approaching the white flag, just a few corners, he's just making sure he doesn't make any mistake, and probably a bit frustrated with the way the race planned out. Definitely not as he wanted to, but it's still a 2nd place. He gains a valuable point for the championship if he intends to compete, even though he's come pretty late into the standings, so might not be his main goal, but also a rating.
Oh my god.
Look at that.
1:42.98. James here is running qualifying laps.
He's gonna use all the DRS available in these final laps, trying to set the new fastest lap of the race, which he already did.
Now James is asking me after his last broadcast that will we be broadcast the Formula 3.5 series because the Daytona 24 Hours is going on, and I told him yes as always. I feel like James wasn't even considering racing Daytona at all, and it's showing that his commitment to just racing this car is certainly paying off, as he is miles ahead of competition. 3 seconds now separates him and Ben Fuller, with the white flag in the air as they come across the old start-finish line.
Great driving by James, I must say. He's one of the most consistent guys in the field. And to be fair, big props also to Ben Fuller, because he came into the series last week, a particular track, so he has been dominating there, but at the same time he's been really good also on a typical Formula track like Silverstone.
Yeah, what a time to win it and wait to win it at your home track. The Union Jacks are flying in the air as James takes the win here at his home track. James Pinkster wins it here in the Formula 3.5, followed by Ben Fuller and Jose Longa in third place. But man, James, I think, is over the moon here today, as there's a little bit of smoke at the end there. And I feel like we're going to get some good old donuts from James.
Oh, I bet he does.
He's starting to take some liberty on this in lap.
Oh, he has to pick as much debris as possible for the weight.
Underfuel his car?
To not breach the regulation.
But yeah, and James is taking it all in, waving to the fans, waving to the crowd, saying, "Look, Mom, I did it!" And he's gonna, he's gonna, come on, James, you got it. He's gonna burn it down here at Silverstone.
All drivers across the start-finish right now, with Matt Triponic, the last driver on the lead lap in 12th position. Look at this donut.
Oh yeah. He doesn't have the expressions of Edward Samborska, but you can tell he is smiling under that helmet right now as he takes the win here at Silverstone. James J. Pinkster does donuts of joy here in front of his home crowd, with Ben Fuller in second place and Jose Longa in third, followed by Greg Olson, Jorge Lopez, Oli Kwaka, Paul Ilbring, Petro Letove, Andreas Farazete, Masafumi Albarume, JB Byrne, Mark Ponick, James Byrne, Edward Samborski, Robert Tarleton, Jason Henrique, and Daniel Campos at the end of this 14-car grid. And man, what a race we saw here today.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We had a lovely race. I think without that battle for second, we might have had a battle till the end of the race, but let's hear now from the winner himself.
Ooh, are you talking to me? I'm not. Matt.
Yeah, we are talking to you. You sound a little bit too calm right now. You just won for your home crowd. How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling great, man. That's brilliant. Was just thinking, it's been last time I won in this series was 51 weeks ago. So if I didn't do it this week, it'd have been a full year. Yeah, wow, that's a great feeling.
It doesn't seem like you haven't won in a full year, but you've always been up front. But when you have mentioned that, you've always been near the front, but it's just always been taken away from you at the wrong spot. But you are finally standing back on the top step, and to do it at Silverstone, man, what a feeling.
Yeah, it's delightful. I mean, this track and this car, nothing feels better, in my opinion, because this car is just so intuitive, driving at high speed, medium speed corners. Had a pretty nice setup as well going. Just driving around was so much fun, particularly in the second half of the race when I had the lead. Yeah, overall the race, I mean, it was interesting because Jose had quite a lot of pace, Ben had quite a lot of pace, but the slipstream was really powerful, and I took my chance, and then I got a decent gap, and in the second half of the race, the tyre wear is a pretty big factor, so I changed my setup just before this one, and I think it paid off because my pace in the second half was very good, pulling away from Ben, so I think it all just paid off really. And yeah, great feeling to win at such a great track.
Yeah, great track for you and a great win. A little question about the track state today. A few of the drivers complaining about it was a little bit understeery. How was that track dealing with you as you were following Ben Fuller? Were you kind of worried that you need to get past him as soon as possible in order not to get the tire wear out of there, or what was going through your head?
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was exactly what I was thinking. Because in the previous race I did before this, I had quite an oversteery setup, and that resulted in me spinning out with 2 laps left, running out of tires, cost me the win. So I made the decision to make a more understeery setup this time, change some anti-roll bars and some stuff. So sitting in Ben's dirty air, I could really feel like I was losing speed, losing front tires. And that's what made me go for it. That was the thing that made me make the decision to go for the overtake into Stowe, to protect the front tires. And yeah, I mean the grip today, or the grip in this session, was a bit hot. So it was tough out there, tough on the tires, but thankfully I made it work because of the setup change.
Well, that change certainly worked wonders for you today as you take the win in front of your home crowds. It's not a year anniversary of your last win, but hey, you can reset that clock. Now as you stay at the top. And before we let you go, anyone you want to thank?
Not really. I mean, I'd like to thank Apex Racing TV for providing the broadcast. I've been doing these races for, 6 seasons now, pretty much. So I've done at least 50 of these broadcast one, at least, yeah. And only my second win, so let's hopefully get a few more of those. So I'd like to thank ARTV for providing that. I'd like to thank Ben and Jose for putting on a nice, clean race for me. It was good fun battling with those guys. And yeah, I'm happy. Woohoo! Finally won.
And we thank you for putting on a great show and showing up week in and week out every week here for more than a year on Apex Racing TV. And you have yourself a great afternoon as we're going to go over to Ben Fuller, who's standing by with Alessandro Dalladone.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to have Ben Fuller back also this week at Silverstone. Ben, how are you doing? How was your race? A bit aggressive move by Jose. It costed you probably the chance to fight for the win.
Yeah, thanks. I'm glad to be back. I think the pace kind of struggled today. I felt like this track conditions, they were very, very bad. I just didn't have any turn in the car. I felt James definitely had very good pace today. Whatever he changed worked. And Jose was rapid. I mean, I'm not really sure what went wrong for him in qualifying, but on pure pace throughout the race, he definitely was the quickest of us 3. I was kind of happy where we were at the beginning. I mean, I thought we had a train of 3 that were pretty good. I was trying to pull away with James, try to get away from Jose because I know what his potential is. I felt like I started to really struggle with the pace. I saw the guys behind definitely still had good pace, and then about midway through the race, James made a good move. I was kind of unhappy with it because I felt like we needed to just stay together till the end, not really fight. Fortunately for him, it paid off.
I know before the race we discussed like working together and not being too stupid in the first few laps, but I changed my mind just because how understeery this session was. I really didn't want to burn out my tires sat behind you, so I was like, yeah, screw it, I got to go for this.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, it was a gamble, and it definitely paid off. I would have done the same thing, you know. You had the pace, so I mean, it's not really too hard feelings because I was definitely lacking out there today. I'm not really sure what went wrong. I put on my oversteer set, and the car still wouldn't turn. So, yeah, and then Jose just really tried to make a I don't want to say a stupid move, but I don't really know what he was doing battling for there through turn 4 and 5, I guess, lap 11 or whatever. I mean.
Yeah,
especially with the pace he had. Just...
Yeah, indeed. I think he would have had definitely a chance in a lap or 2 time. Yeah, especially, maybe he was just worried about James pulling away from you. I don't know. It would be lovely to have his take on this, but unfortunately, he's not in our interview waiting area right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think he probably could have fought for the win. I think he had really good pace there at the end. It's tough to say because James and Jose both had really good pace, but I mean, I think he would have made pretty quick work of me, so I'm not really sure why he was so aggressive through there. Maybe he really didn't expect me to be taking the kind of line that I did through, 3 and 4. You know, I like to compromise a lot on the entry of 4, and then compromise a lot on the entry of 4 or 5, the next slower hairpin S corner, and that really sets up well for the straight coming up, but it obviously opens up a lot of down the inside moves. You know, I experienced that a lot in the last race before this one with James. You know, I feel like it's probably a quicker line, and with the right setup, it's very, very fast. But there's just a complete open invitation down the inside, and I think he just saw a green light and he took it. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, I can only say we hope to have you all three back next week at Montreal. So definitely a different track from Silverstone. Might be somewhat look like at Long Beach for you, Ben, where you absolutely dominate the team.
Well, I mean, we've got some really nice competition now, so it's tough to say what it's going to look like next week. But Montreal is a great track. I mean, it's very street course-esque, you know, tight corners, tight walls. But yeah, I mean, we'll just have to see. I'm excited.
Anybody you would like to thank before we let you go?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for the broadcast. But that's about it.
Oh, thanks for joining us for this great race, Ben. I guess, Austin, we can call it a night. And it's over to you to round up today's event.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us here for the Formula 3.5 Championship here at Silverstone. I want to thank everybody for hopping in and joining us right now for a break of 24-hour action into a good old-fashioned 3.5 race here, like every week here on Apex Racing TV. As well, that is it for Silverstone, and next week we go over to Montreal as we head over to the famous Canadian circuit, Gilles Villeneuve, for another great round. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here on Apex Racing TV for the Formula 3.5 Championship. I've been joined by Alessandro Dalladone with Marco Barbonera in the booth. I'm Austin Knight, and I hope y'all have a good night.